My husband's mistress showed up at my baby shower to announce she's also pregnant, so I divorced him and made sure she got nothing in court. 4 years later, she wants to co-parent and marry me because he abandoned both kids. I'm Melissa, and I'm still not sure how my life turned into whatever this mess is. I remember the exact moment everything fell apart. I was 7 months pregnant, glowing in this ridiculous pink dress my sister picked out, surrounded by 50 women I barely knew, opening my 14th pack of onesies. My feet were swollen, my back hurt, but I was happy. Genuinely, stupidly happy. Then Amber walked in. I didn't know who she was at first. Just some blonde woman in a tight red dress that was completely wrong for a baby shower. She had this look on her face, confident, almost excited. My sister Jennifer stopped mid-sentence while telling some story about her own pregnancy, and I watched the color drain from her face. That's when I knew something was very, very wrong. Hi everyone, Amber said, her voice cutting through the room like glass. Sorry I'm late to the party. I'm Amber, Brandon's girlfriend. The room went silent. You know that kind of silence where you can hear people's hearts breaking? Where the air itself feels heavy. That kind. I just stared at her. My brain couldn't process it. Brandon's girlfriend? Brandon was my husband. We'd been married for 3 years. Together for 6. We were having a baby. I think you're confused, I said, my voice shaking. Brandon is my husband. Amber smiled. Actually smiled. Oh, I know who you are, Melissa. Brandon talks about you all the time. Well, used to. Before he realized he was in love with me, Jennifer moved toward her, but I held up my hand. I needed to hear this. All of it. I'm pregnant too, Amber continued, placing her hand on her still flat stomach with this theatrical gesture. 3 months. Brandon's baby. I thought you should know before you waste any more time planning a future that isn't going to happen. I stood up. I don't know how I managed it with my giant belly, but I did. Get out. Brandon's been staying at my apartment most nights for the past 4 months, she said, not moving. He said he's waiting for the right time to tell you. But I figured, why wait? You deserve to know that the man you're married to is building a real family with me. That's when I threw up. Right there. All over my pink dress and the new carpet my mom had installed just for this party. The next few hours were a blur. Jennifer drove me home. Brandon wasn't there. I called him 17 times. Nothing. Finally, at midnight, he walked through the door like nothing had happened. How was the shower? He asked. I was sitting in the dark in our living room. I hadn't changed. I still smelled like vomit and shame. Amber showed up, I said. I watched him freeze. Literally freeze mid-step. His face went white, then red, then white again. Melissa, I can explain. She's pregnant. It's complicated. Get out, babe. Please, just listen. I stood up and walked to our bedroom. I locked the door. I could hear him outside, pleading, making excuses, crying even. I didn't care. I lay down on our bed and I didn't cry. I couldn't. I just stared at the ceiling and felt my daughter kick inside me, and I made a decision. I was going to destroy him. The next morning, I called the best divorce attorney in the city. Her name was Patricia Monroe, and she had a reputation for being absolutely ruthless. She was expensive. I didn't care. I emptied our savings account before Brandon could touch it. All of it. $63,000. Patricia was a woman in her 50s with silver hair and cold blue eyes. She listened to my story without interrupting, taking notes in precise handwriting. Did you know about the affair? She asked. No, not until yesterday. Can you prove you didn't know? I thought about that. My sister was there. 50 other women. They all saw my reaction. They all saw me find out in real time. Patricia smiled. It wasn't a warm smile. Good, that's very good. And this Amber, did she know he was married? She called herself his girlfriend. At my baby shower. She knew. Even better. Patricia leaned back in her chair. Here's what's going to happen, Melissa. You're going to file for divorce immediately. You're going to document everything. Every text, every call, every moment. You're going to be calm, collected, and strategic. And when we're done, Brandon is going to wish he'd never met either of you. I hired a private investigator that same day. His name was Marcus, and he looked like someone's grandfather. Soft-spoken, kind eyes. He found everything in 48 hours. Brandon had been seeing Amber for 8 months. They'd met at his office. She was a client liaison. He'd been taking her on dates, buying her jewelry, telling people she was his girlfriend. He'd signed a lease on an apartment for her. He'd been using our joint credit card to pay for everything. But here's the thing Marcus found that changed everything. Amber knew. She knew from day one that Brandon was married. In fact, she had screenshots of their early conversations where she explicitly asked about me. And Brandon had said I was basically his ex and we were only still married on paper. She knew I was pregnant too. He'd told her. Patricia smiled when I showed her the evidence. This is beautiful work, Melissa. Truly beautiful. The divorce proceedings started immediately. Brandon tried to fight it. He claimed he wanted to work things out, that it was a mistake, that Amber had manipulated him. He actually tried to paint himself as the victim. Then Patricia presented the evidence. The credit card statements showing thousands of dollars spent on Amber, the lease agreement, the text messages where he'd called me the ball and chain and said he couldn't wait to be free, the photos of them together at restaurants where we'd celebrated our anniversaries. But the worst part, the part that made even the judge look disgusted, there was a text from 2 weeks before the baby shower where Amber had asked if she should make her presence known, and Brandon had replied, not yet. Let her have her party, then we'll figure it out. They had planned it. They had planned to humiliate me at my own baby shower. I sat in that courtroom at 8 months pregnant and watched my husband, my soon-to-be ex-husband, realize he'd destroyed everything. Our state had fault-based divorce laws. Adultery was grounds for an unequal division of assets. Patricia argued that Brandon had not only committed adultery, but had also wasted marital assets on his mistress and had caused extreme emotional distress to a pregnant woman. The judge agreed. I got the house. I got 70% of all our assets. I got full custody of our daughter once she was born, with Brandon getting supervised visitation every other weekend. He had to pay child support. He had to pay my legal fees. He had to pay for everything. And Amber got nothing. Because here's the thing about being the other woman. You have no legal standing. She tried to file a claim, arguing that Brandon had promised her things, that she'd left her job for him, that she deserved compensation for emotional investment. Patricia destroyed her in court, showed that Amber had knowingly engaged in an affair with a married man, had participated in intentional infliction of emotional distress, and had been complicit in the waste of marital assets. The judge actually laughed when Amber's lawyer tried to argue she deserved anything. Miss Amber, the judge said, you chose to involve yourself in a married man's life. You chose to participate in the destruction of a family. You chose to humiliate a pregnant woman. The consequences of those choices are yours to bear. Case dismissed. I gave birth to my daughter 3 weeks later. Her name is Emma. She's perfect. Brandon showed up at the hospital. all. I let him see her for exactly 10 minutes under supervision from Jennifer. He held Emma and he cried and he said he was sorry. I didn't respond. I just watched him hold the daughter he'd almost thrown away for a woman he'd known for 8 months. Amber had her baby 4 months after Emma was born. A boy. She named him Connor. I knew this because Jennifer kept tabs on her social media. I told her not to, but Jennifer was protective. She wanted to make sure Amber wasn't planning anything else. For a while, it seemed like Brandon was trying to be present for both kids. He'd take Emma on his weekends. He'd post photos of Connor on his social media. He'd play the devoted dad role. That lasted about 6 months. Then the visits became sporadic. He'd cancel at the last minute. He'd show up late. He'd forget to bring the diaper bag. He'd drop Emma off early because he had plans. By the time Emma was 2, he'd basically stopped coming around. He paid child support. The court made sure of that, but he wasn't a father. He was a bank account. I heard through mutual friends that things with Amber hadn't worked out the way she'd planned. Brandon had never moved in with her. He'd never proposed. He'd never done any of the things he'd apparently promised. He was just a guy who showed up occasionally, played with Connor for an hour, and left. The fantasy they'd built together had collapsed under the weight of reality. I didn't care. I was busy rebuilding my life. I'd started my own consulting business from home so I could be with Emma. I'd bought a new car. I'd decorated the house exactly how I wanted it. I'd made friends with other single moms at Emma's daycare. I was happy. Actually happy. Then, 4 years after the baby shower, Amber knocked on my door. I almost didn't recognize her. The confident woman in the red dress was gone. This Amber looked tired, worn down. She had bags under her eyes and her hair needed a cut, and she was wearing yoga pants and an old sweatshirt. What do you want? I asked through the screen door. I didn't open it. Can we talk? Please? No, it's about Connor and Emma and Brandon. I should have closed the door. I should have called the police. I should have done literally anything except what I did, which was let her into my house. She sat on my couch, the same couch where I'd sat the night I found out about the affair, and she cried. He's gone, she said. Brandon, he's just gone. Gone where? I don't know. He stopped responding to my calls 3 months ago. He stopped paying attention to Connor. He moved to a different state for work and didn't tell either of us. He just left. I sat in the chair across from her and I didn't feel anything. Not sympathy, not satisfaction, nothing. I'm sorry that happened to you, I said, but I don't know what you expect me to do about it. Connor asks about his dad all the time, Amber continued, wiping her eyes. He sees other kids with their fathers and he doesn't understand why his isn't around. I've tried to explain, but he's 4. He just knows his dad doesn't want him. That's not my problem. I know it's not. But Emma has you. She has stability. She has love. Connor has me, but I'm barely holding it together. I work 2 jobs. My mom helps when she can, but she's getting older. I'm drowning, Melissa. Again, not my problem. She looked at me with these desperate eyes. I know you hate me. You have every right to hate me. What I did was unforgivable. I was young and stupid, and I thought I was in love, and I didn't think about the consequences. I didn't think about you or your baby or what it would do to everyone. I just thought about myself. Is this the part where you apologize? Would it matter if I did? No, she nodded like she'd expected that. I'm not here to ask for forgiveness. I'm here to ask for help. Help with what? Co-parenting. I actually laughed, like genuinely laughed out loud. You want me to help you parent your child? The child you had with my husband while we were still married? Our children are siblings, Melissa. Half siblings, but still. They share DNA. They share a father, even if he's a terrible one. Connor deserves to know Emma. Emma deserves to know Connor. Emma doesn't even know Connor exists. I've never told her about him. Why would I? Because one day she'll find out. One day Brandon might come back, or Connor will find her, or someone will tell her. And when that day comes, wouldn't it be better if she already knew? If they already had a relationship? I hated that she had a point. Get out, I said. Please just think about it. Get out of my house, Amber. Now. She left. I locked the door behind her, and I poured myself a very large glass of wine, and I tried to forget the conversation had ever happened, but I couldn't. Because the thing is, Emma had started asking questions. She'd noticed that some of her friends had dads who lived with them. She'd asked why her dad only came around sometimes. She'd asked if she had any brothers or sisters. I'd deflected, changed the subject, distracted her with toys and snacks and TV, but she was getting older, smarter. Soon deflection wouldn't work anymore. Jennifer came over that night. I told her everything. She was furious. She has some nerve, Jennifer said, pacing my kitchen. After everything she did, she shows up here and asks you for help with the child she had while ruining your marriage? The audacity is actually impressive. She said Connor needs a father figure. Connor's father is Brandon. That's not your responsibility. She said the kids should know each other. Jennifer stopped pacing. Do you want them to know each other? I don't know. Maybe. Emma's going to find out eventually. And when she does, I want it to be on my terms, not Brandon's or Amber's or some random person on Facebook. So what are you going to do? I didn't answer because I didn't know. 2 weeks later, Amber texted me. Just a simple message. Please, for the kids. I blocked her number. She emailed me. I blocked her email. She sent a letter to my house. I threw it away without reading it. She showed up at Emma's preschool pickup. That's when I lost it. You need to stop, I said, pulling her aside while Emma played on the playground equipment, oblivious. You need to stop contacting me. Stop showing up. Stop everything. I don't want to co-parent with you. I don't want anything to do with you. I'm desperate, Amber said, her voice cracked. I'm completely alone, Melissa. My mom died last month. I have no family, no support system. Connor is suffering and I don't know how to help him. He needs stability. He needs family. He needs his father, not me. Not Emma. His father doesn't want him. The words hung in the air between us. I looked at Emma, laughing as she went down the slide, completely innocent and happy, and I thought about some little boy somewhere who looked like Brandon and didn't understand why his dad didn't love him enough to stay. I'm sorry, I said, and I meant it. I'm sorry your son is hurting. I'm sorry Brandon is a terrible person. I'm sorry you're struggling, but I can't fix this for you. I'm not asking you to fix it. I'm asking you to let our children know each other. One play date, that's all. Let them meet. Let them be siblings, even if we can't be friends. I should have said no. Instead, I said one play date, supervised, in a public place. If Emma gets upset or uncomfortable, it ends immediately. Amber's face lit up like I'd given her $1 million. Thank you. Thank you so much, Melissa. You don't know what this means. Don't thank me. This isn't for you. It's for Emma. If she asks about siblings one day, I want to be able to tell her I tried. We arranged it for the following Saturday at a local park. I told Emma we were meeting a friend. I didn't mention Connor was her half-brother. I didn't mention Brandon at all. I just said there was a nice lady with a little boy who wanted to play. Emma was excited. She loved making new friends. Connor was small for his age, dark hair like Brandon, same eyes. eyes. It was unsettling how much he looked like his father. He was shy at first, hiding behind Amber's legs, but Emma had this way of drawing people out. She offered him her favorite toy truck, and he smiled, and they ran off to the sandbox together. Amber and I sat on a bench 10 feet away watching them. We didn't talk. What was there to say? The kids played for an hour. They built sandcastles. They went on the swings. They laughed. Emma held Connor's hand when he got scared on the tall slide. Connor shared his snacks with Emma when she said she was hungry. They were just kids. They didn't know about the complicated, messy adult drama that connected them. They just knew they liked each other. She's wonderful, Amber said quietly. You've done an amazing job with her. Don't. I mean it. She's kind and confident and happy. Everything I hope Connor can be. I looked at Amber. Really looked at her. She was young. Maybe 26, 27. She'd made a terrible choice 4 years ago, but she was still just a kid herself. A kid with a kid trying to figure out how to survive. Why did you do it? I asked. Why did you show up at my baby shower? She was quiet for a long time. Honestly, I thought if you saw that I was real, you'd leave him. I thought he'd be free and we'd be together and it would be perfect. I was an idiot. I thought love conquered everything. I didn't understand that what we had wasn't love. It was just fantasy, escape, a game we played where we pretended real life didn't exist. You destroyed my life. I know. And I'm sorry. I've wanted to say that for 4 years, but I didn't think you'd listen. I'm sorry I was selfish. I'm sorry I was cruel. I'm sorry I didn't think about anyone but myself. If I could go back and change it, I would, but you can't. No, I can't. We watched the kids play in silence. Connor talks about his dad sometimes. Amber said after a while. He asks when daddy's coming back. I've stopped lying. I just tell him I don't know. I think he's starting to understand that maybe daddy's not coming back at all. What happened to Brandon? Where did he go? Texas, got a new job, new apartment, new life. He sends child support because the court makes him, but that's it. No calls, no visits, nothing. It's like Connor and I never existed. He does the same thing to Emma. I know. I follow your social media sometimes. I see the photos of her birthdays, her preschool graduation, all these moments. Brandon's never there. He came to one birthday party, stayed for 20 minutes, left before we cut the cake. Connor's never had a birthday party. I can't afford it. I looked at Connor, laughing as Emma chased him around a tree. He looked happy. In this moment, at this park with my daughter, he looked like a normal, happy 4-year-old boy. What are you really asking for, Amber? I said, this isn't just about the kids knowing each other. What do you want? She took a deep breath. I want to co-parent. For real. I want Emma and Connor to grow up knowing each other. I want them to have play dates and birthday parties and Christmas mornings together. I want them to be family, even if it's unconventional. We're not family. We're connected whether we like it or not. We share children with the same man. That makes us something. It makes us nothing. Melissa, please. I'm drowning. I'm working 16-hour days. Connor is in daycare from 6 in the morning until 8 at night. He's lonely. He's sad. He needs more than I can give him by myself. I'm not asking you to love him. I'm not asking you to replace his father. I'm just asking you to let him exist in Emma's life. Let them be siblings. I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell her to leave and never come back. I wanted to protect Emma from all of this mess. But I watched Emma hold Connor's hand as they climbed the jungle gym together, and I saw the way he looked at her like she was the coolest person in the world. And I thought about what kind of person I wanted Emma to be. Did I want her to be someone who turned her back on family because of adult mistakes? Or did I want her to be someone who showed compassion even when it was hard? I need to think about it, I said. That's all I'm asking. We exchanged phone numbers. Emma cried when it was time to leave. She wanted to keep playing with her new friend. I promised her we'd see Connor again soon. That night, I called Patricia, my divorce attorney. I need advice, I said. But not legal advice. Personal advice. I explained the situation, everything. The visit, the requests, the play date. Patricia listened without interrupting, like always. Do you want to do this? She asked when I finished. I don't know. Yes, you do. You wouldn't have called me if you didn't already know what you wanted. You're just scared. Of course I'm scared. This is the woman who destroyed my marriage. No, Brandon destroyed your marriage. She was just the tool he used to do it. And now she's asking you for help. The question is, do you want to help her? It's not about helping her. It's about Emma, is it? Because it sounds like it's also about a little boy who has a deadbeat dad and a struggling mom and no fault in any of this. It sounds like it's about whether you're going to let Brandon's failures define how you treat 2 innocent children. I hated that she was right. If I do this, I said, if I let Connor into Emma's life, there's no going back. They'll be connected forever. I'll be connected to Amber forever. You're already connected to her. You share a piece of history that can't be undone. The only question is whether that connection is going to be hostile and distant, or whether it's going to be something that benefits the kids. I hung up and I stared at my ceiling for 3 hours thinking about what to do. The next morning, I texted Amber, we need to talk. Coffee, tomorrow. Bring a list of exactly what you're proposing. She responded immediately. Thank you. I will. Thank you so much. We met at a coffee shop near the park. Amber showed up with a notebook full of ideas, scheduled playdates, shared birthdays, holiday coordination. It was thorough. Almost too thorough. How long have you been planning this? I asked. 2 years. Since Connor started asking about his dad. Since I realized Brandon wasn't coming back. I've been watching Emma's social media, seeing what a good mom you are, thinking about how much better Connor's life could be if he had that kind of stability too. That's borderline stalking. I know. I'm sorry. I didn't know how else to hope for something better. I looked at her list. It was ambitious. Maybe too ambitious. But there was something there. A framework. A possibility. Here's what I'll agree to, I said. Monthly playdates. Public places. Supervised by both of us. If Emma asks questions, I'll tell her age-appropriate truths. If Connor asks questions, you do the same. No lies, no secrets. We're honest with them about their relationship. Okay, birthdays. They can come to each other's parties if they want. No obligation. If Emma doesn't want Connor there, he doesn't come. If Connor doesn't want Emma there, she doesn't come. The kids decide. That's fair. Holidays. We'll figure it out year by year. Maybe some shared, maybe not. We play it by ear based on what works for everyone. Agreed. And Amber, if you ever try to manipulate this situation, if you try to use Emma to get to me or get something from me or hurt me in any way, it ends immediately. I will protect my daughter above everything else. Do you understand? I understand. And I won't. I promise. We shook hands. It felt surreal. 4 years ago, this woman had destroyed my life. Now we were agreeing to co-parent our children together. The first few months were awkward. Really awkward. Amber and I didn't know how to talk to each other. We'd sit at parks and coffee shops making stilted small talk while the kids played. But Emma and Connor, they clicked immediately. Connor started calling Emma his best friend. Emma started asking when she'd see Connor again. They'd draw pictures for each other. They'd share toys. They'd make up elaborate games and stories. When Emma turned 5, she asked if Connor could come to her party. I said yes. Connor showed up with a handmade card and the biggest smile I'd ever seen. He sang happy birthday louder than anyone. He helped Emma blow out her candles. Amber stood in the corner of my backyard looking uncomfortable. Jennifer glared at her the entire time. But Emma and Connor were happy, and that was what mattered. 6 months into our arrangement, Amber showed up at a play date looking different. Lighter somehow. I got a new job, she said. Better hours. Better pay. Connor's going to a better daycare. Things are improving. That's good. I'm glad. It's because of you. Because of this. Having help, even just one weekend a month, it's given me space to breathe, to figure things out, to be a better mom. You're doing it for Connor, not me. I'm doing it because you gave me a chance when you had every reason not to. That means something. We started talking more. Not as friends, we'd never be friends, but as two women trying to navigate an impossible situation. She told me about her struggles with money, with childcare, with dating as a single mom. I told her about my business, about the challenges of raising Emma alone, about how I'd rebuilt my life. We were never going to have a typical relationship, but we had something, some kind of understanding. Then, about a year into our co-parenting arrangement, Amber said something that changed everything. We were at a playground. Emma and Connor were on the monkey bars. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon. I'm bisexual, Amber said suddenly. I looked at her. Okay, I just thought you should know. Since we're spending so much time together, since the kids are getting closer. I wanted to be honest. Why are you telling me this? She looked uncomfortable. Because, I don't know. I've been doing therapy, working through things, trying to figure out who I am outside of the mistakes I made. And this is part of who I am. I wanted you to know. Okay, thanks for sharing, I guess. Does it bother you? No, why would it? She shrugged. Some people are weird about it. I'm not. We didn't talk about it again for months. Then, around the 2-year mark of our arrangement, Amber started acting strange. She'd text me randomly during the week, not about the kids, just to chat. She'd suggest coffee dates separate from play dates. She'd compliment me constantly. My hair, my clothes, the way I handled Emma. I ignored it. I thought she was just being friendly, trying to build a relationship beyond just co-parenting. Then she invited me to dinner. Just us, she said. No kids, a nice restaurant. My treat. Why? Because I want to thank you. For everything, for giving Connor a chance, for being kind when you had every reason not to be. I should have said no. Instead, I said yes. The restaurant was fancy. Too fancy. Amber wore a dress. She'd done her hair and makeup. She looked nervous. We ordered wine. We talked about the kids, about work, about life. It was almost nice. Then halfway through the main course, Amber said, I need to tell you something. My stomach dropped. What? I have feelings for you. I stared at her. What? I have feelings for you. Real feelings. I think I might be falling in love with you. I put down my fork. You're joking. I'm not. I know it's crazy. I know it's probably the worst possible thing I could say, but I can't keep it in anymore. These past 2 years, getting to know you, seeing how incredible you are as a mom and as a person, watching you give my son a chance even though I ruined your life. I've fallen for you, Melissa. No, I know you probably don't feel the same way. No, absolutely not. This is insane, is it? Think about it. We're already co-parenting. We already spend time together. The kids love each other. We could be a family. A real family. We could raise Emma and Connor together. We could— Stop. Just stop. I stood up. You destroyed my marriage. You humiliated me. You made the worst day of my life even worse. And now you think, what? That I'm going to fall in love with you? That we're going to play house together? That I'm going to forget everything you did? I thought maybe we'd moved past. We haven't moved past anything. The only reason I tolerate you is for the kids. That's it. There is nothing else between us. There will never be anything else between us. People were staring. I didn't care. I'm sorry, Amber said, tears streaming down her face. I'm so sorry. I just thought you thought wrong. I'm leaving. Lose my number. The co-parenting arrangement is over. I walked out of the restaurant and I drove home and I cried. Not because I was sad, because I was angry, furious. How dare she? How dare she think that 2 years of play dates erased everything she'd done? Emma asked why we weren't seeing Connor anymore. I told her Connor's mom needed some space. She was upset, but she moved on. Kids are resilient like that. Jennifer was thrilled. Good riddance, she said. That woman was delusional if she thought you'd ever want anything to do with her romantically. But Connor's absence affected Emma more than I expected. She'd ask about him randomly. She'd draw pictures for him. She'd save toys to show him. She missed her brother, and that's when I realized they weren't just friends to each other. They were siblings. Real siblings with a real bond. And I'd taken that away because of my own anger. 3 months after the disastrous dinner, I texted Amber. Emma misses Connor. We need to figure something out. For them. Not for us. She responded immediately. I understand. Whatever works for you. I'm so sorry about everything. I crossed a line. It won't happen again. We started doing playdates again, but different this time. More formal, less personal. We'd drop the kids off at each other's houses and leave. We'd coordinate through text only. We'd keep everything transactional. It worked. Sort of. The kids were happy again. But there was this weird tension now. This elephant in the room that we both pretended didn't exist. Then, 6 months after the restaurant incident, Brandon came back. He just showed up at my door one Saturday morning like no time had passed at all. Hey, Mel, he said, using the nickname he'd given me when we first started dating. Can we talk? Emma was at a friend's house. I was alone. I should have slammed the door in his face. Instead, I let him in. He looked older, tired. He'd gained weight, lost some hair. The confident man I'd married was gone, replaced by this sad middle-aged guy who looked like life had beaten him down. What do you want, Brandon? I want to see Emma. Really see her. Be in her life. You've had 5 years to be in her life. Where have you been? Texas, working, trying to figure out who I am without everything. Without your wife and mistress, you mean? He flinched. I deserve that. You deserve a lot worse than that. I know I screwed up. I know I'm the villain in this story, but Emma is my daughter. I want to know her. I want to be her dad. It's too late for that. It's never too late. I laughed. Actually laughed. You abandoned her. You abandoned both your kids. Connor too. Do you even remember Connor's name? Of course I do. When's his birthday? Silence. That's what I thought. You don't get to just walk back into their lives when it's convenient for you. You made your choice. Live with it. I'm sober now. I've been going to therapy. I'm different. Good for you. Doesn't change anything. Melissa, please. I'm begging you. Let me see Emma. Let me prove I've changed. Why now? Why after 5 years? He looked down at his hands. Because I got diagnosed with something serious. And I realized I'm running out of time to fix my mistakes. I don't want to leave this world with my daughter hating me. My blood ran cold. What do you mean diagnosed? Heart condition. Pretty bad. I need surgery. Maybe more than one. The doctors say I've got a good shot, but you never know. I should have felt sympathy. I should have felt something. Instead, I felt nothing. That's awful, I said flatly. But it doesn't change anything. Emma doesn't know you. You're a stranger to her. Walking back into her life now would just confuse her. Then let me meet her. Let me introduce myself. Let me try. And Connor, are you planning to see him too? Brandon looked uncomfortable. Amber and we don't have a good relationship. You don't have any relationship. You abandoned your son. I know. I'm going to fix that too, eventually. But Emma is my priority right now. She's the one I was married to her mother. She's the one you want, and Connor is the one you don't. Got it. You're still the same selfish person you've always been. Get out! Melissa, get out of my house, Brandon. If you want visitation with Emma, have your lawyer contact my lawyer. Otherwise, don't come back here. He left. I locked the door and I called Patricia. He's back, I said. Brandon, he wants visitation. On what grounds? He claims he's changed. Sober. Therapy. Oh, and he's sick. Heart condition. Wants to make amends before surgery. Do you believe him? I don't know. I don't care. I don't want him near Emma. Unfortunately, unless he's proven to be a danger, he has parental rights. If he files for visitation, a judge will likely grant something, especially if he can show he's getting medical treatment and working on himself. So I have no choice? You have choices. You can fight it. You can propose supervised visitation only. You can require drug testing and therapy verification. You can make it difficult. But you can't deny him completely. What about Connor? He wants to see Emma but not Connor. That's telling. Document that. It shows he's not actually interested in being a father. He's interested in the child who comes from the legitimate relationship. A judge might not look kindly on that. I documented everything. Every text, every conversation, every time Brandon said something that proved he was still the same selfish person. But here's what I didn't expect. Amber found out Brandon was back. She called me crying. Is it true? Is Brandon in town? Yes. Did he contact you? Yes, he wants to see Emma. Not Connor? No, not Connor. I heard her break down on the other end of the line. She didn't say anything for a full minute, just cried. I'm sorry, I said finally. For what it's worth, I told him he was a piece of garbage for not wanting to see Connor too. It doesn't matter. Connor's better off without him. We both are. It's just, it would be nice if Brandon could at least pretend to care. Yeah, it would. We were quiet for a moment. Melissa? Amber said softly. Yeah? Can I ask you something? Depends what it is. That night at the restaurant, when I told you how I felt, I know I messed everything up. I know I made you uncomfortable, but I meant what I said. Not the weird marriage proposal part, but the part about respecting you, admiring you, thinking you're incredible. I still mean that. Amber, I'm not trying to make you uncomfortable again. I just want you to know that even though we'll never be together, even though you'll probably never forgive me for what I did to you, I'm grateful you gave Connor a chance. He talks about Emma all the time. She's his hero, and you're mine. I didn't know what to say to that. I need to go, I said. Emma's about to come home. Okay, thanks for listening. And Melissa? Yeah? Whatever happens with Brandon, whatever he tries to do, I've got your back. If you need someone to testify about what kind of father he is, I'll do it. I'll tell them everything. Thanks. She hung up. I sat there thinking about how completely insane my life had become. My ex-husband wanted back into my daughter's life. His mistress was in love with me. Our kids were best friends. And I was somehow in the middle of all of it, trying to protect everyone while also wanting to burn the whole situation to the ground. Brandon filed for visitation. Patricia fought it hard. We went back to court. The judge was the same one from our divorce. She remembered us. She remembered the affair. She remembered everything. Brandon's lawyer argued he was reformed, showed evidence of therapy, sobriety, medical treatment, argued that Emma deserved to know her father. Patricia showed the texts where Brandon admitted he didn't want to see Connor, showed his pattern of abandonment, showed his 5 years of minimal contact, showed everything. The judge looked tired. Mr. Brandon, she said, you have demonstrated a pattern of selective parenting that concerns this court. You're seeking visitation with one child, while openly avoiding another child you also fathered. Can you explain why? Brandon stammered through an answer about complicated relationships and different circumstances. The judge wasn't impressed. Here's my ruling, she said. You may have supervised visitation with Emma, 2 hours, once a month. The supervision will be provided by a court-appointed mediator. If you demonstrate consistent, appropriate behavior for 6 months, we'll revisit the arrangement. However, I'm also ordering you to establish visitation with your son Connor. You don't get to pick and choose which children you parent. Brandon went pale. Your Honor, with all due respect, Connor's mother and I are adults who need to figure it out. You have 2 children. You either show up for both or neither. That's my ruling. I wanted to hug that judge. Brandon showed up for his first supervised visit with Emma 3 weeks later. Emma was confused. She didn't remember him. She kept asking me who the strange man was. I had to explain in very simple terms that this was her biological father, that he'd been away for a long time but wanted to get to know her now. Emma asked if Connor's dad was her dad too. I said yes. She asked why he'd never been around. I told her that was a question for him, not me. The visit was awkward. Brandon tried too hard, brought too many toys, talked too much. Emma was polite but distant. She kept looking at me like she wanted permission to leave. After 2 hours, the mediator ended the session. Emma ran to me and held my hand tight. Do I have to see him again? She asked in the car. Yes, sweetheart. He's your dad. The judge says he gets to visit sometimes. Why? Because that's how families work sometimes. It's complicated. I don't like him. You don't have to like him. You just have to be respectful. Okay, mommy. Brandon didn't go see Connor. He claimed Amber wouldn't let him. Amber claimed he never reached out. The judge ordered them both into mediation. I stayed out of it. This was their mess. But then Amber called me one night, completely distraught. He wants custody, she said. Brandon, he's filing for custody of Connor. What? Why? Because the judge ordered him to establish a relationship. So now he's trying to look like father of the year. He's claiming I'm an unfit mother. That Connor needs a father figure. That he can provide better stability. That's insane. He's been gone for 5 years. I know, but his lawyer is arguing that he was depressed and working through issues and now he's better and ready to be a parent. They're making me look like the villain for not forcing Connor on him sooner. What do you need? A character witness. Someone who can testify about what kind of father Brandon actually is. Will you do it? I shouldn't have. This was Amber's problem, not mine. But I thought about Connor. About that sweet little boy who adored Emma and drew pictures and laughed loud. About how he deserved better than to be a pawn in Brandon's redemption arc. I'll do it, I said. The custody hearing was brutal. Brandon's lawyer painted Amber as a struggling single mom who couldn't provide stability. Painted Brandon as a reformed man ready to step up. Then I took the stand. I told them everything. How Brandon had abandoned Emma, how he'd missed birthdays and Christmases and milestones, how he'd admitted to me he didn't want to see Connor, how he'd only filed for custody after being ordered to establish a relationship, how this was all about appearances, not about actually being a father. Patricia helped Amber's lawyer with questions. They tag-teamed perfectly. Ms. Melissa, Amber's lawyer said, in your experience co-parenting with your ex-husband, has he demonstrated genuine interest in Emma's well-being? No. He shows up when the court makes him. Otherwise, he's absent. And in your interactions with him regarding Connor, has he ever expressed genuine desire to be Connor's father? No. He's explicitly said he doesn't want a relationship with Connor. That Emma is his priority because she's from his marriage? So you believe his sudden interest in custody is not genuine? I believe Brandon does whatever benefits Brandon. Right now, that means playing dad to look good in court. Once he gets what he wants, he'll disappear again. That's what he does. The judge denied Brandon's custody request. Granted him supervised visitation with Connor, same as Emma, once a month, 2 hours. Court-appointed mediator. Brandon was furious. He tried to appeal. It went nowhere. Then he dropped the bombshell. He wasn't getting the surgery. His heart condition, manageable with medication and lifestyle changes. He didn't actually need immediate surgery. He wasn't dying. He'd exaggerated the severity to manipulate everyone. Even the judge was disgusted. Mr. Brandon, she said at the final hearing, you've wasted this court's time with false medical emergencies, insincere custody requests, and manipulation. Your visitation with both children will continue as ordered, but I'm adding a stipulation. You will undergo parenting classes. You will continue therapy. You will provide proof of both every 3 months. If you miss a single visit without valid cause, if you fail to provide proof of classes or therapy, your visitation rights will be revoked entirely. Do you understand? Brandon understood. He lasted 4 months, missed visits, stopped going to therapy, disappeared again. The judge revoked his visitation rights. He didn't appeal. He just left. Again. Emma asked about him once or twice, then forgot. Connor never asked at all. They had each other. They had us. That was enough. And Amber? Amber stopped being weird. Stopped pushing for anything more than co-parenting. She focused on Connor, on her job, on building a life. One day, about 6 months after Brandon disappeared for the second time, we were at a park watching the kids play. It was a sunny afternoon. Birds were singing. Everything felt peaceful. I'm dating someone, Amber said suddenly. Oh yeah? Yeah, a woman named Rachel. She's a teacher, really kind. Good with kids. That's great. I'm happy for you. Thanks. She wants to meet Connor soon. I'm nervous. Why? Because what if she doesn't like him? What if he doesn't like her? What if I'm bad at this? You'll be fine. Connor's great. Any decent person will see that. Thanks. Amber was quiet for a moment. I know things between us will never be normal. I know what I did is unforgivable, but I'm grateful for what we have. This weird co-parenting thing. It's more than I deserve. It's not about what you deserve. It's about what the kids need. Still, thank you. I nodded. We watched Emma and Connor on the swings. They were laughing, pushing each other higher and higher, without a care in the world. You know what's funny? I said, what? 4 years ago, I wanted to destroy you. I wanted you to have nothing. I wanted you to suffer the way you made me suffer. I remember. But now, I don't feel that way anymore. I don't forgive you. I'll probably never forgive you. But I don't hate you either. What do you feel? I thought about it. Indifferent. You're just someone I know. Someone who's connected to my life because our kids are siblings. That's it. That's more than I expected. Yeah, me too. Emma called out to me, asking if she and Connor could get ice cream. I said yes. We walked to the ice cream truck, Amber and I side by side, watching our kids hold hands and chatter excitedly about flavors. It wasn't the life I'd planned. It wasn't the life I'd wanted, but it was the life I had. And honestly, it wasn't so bad. 6 months later, Emma started first grade. Connor started at the same school. They weren't in the same class, but they saw each other at recess and lunch. Emma would tell me stories about how Connor had helped a kid who'd fallen down, how he'd shared his snacks, how he was making friends. Connor was thriving. So was Emma. Amber brought Rachel to a play date. Rachel was exactly as described. Kind, warm, good with kids. She and Connor clicked immediately. Emma approved too, which apparently was the highest endorsement. Your daughter is very protective of Connor, Rachel said, watching Emma make sure Connor got the first turn on the slide. They're protective of each other, I said. It's sweet. Amber talks about you all the time, about how you saved her life. I didn't save anything. I just let the kids be siblings. Still, not everyone would do that, especially given the history, I shrugged. The kids didn't do anything wrong. They deserved a chance. Jennifer still didn't approve. You're too forgiving, she'd say. But Jennifer hadn't seen what I'd seen. She hadn't watched Emma and Connor grow up together. She hadn't seen how much lighter Amber had become. She hadn't seen how this weird, broken situation had somehow turned into something that worked. Brandon sent an email on Emma's 7th birthday. Just a simple message. Happy birthday to Emma. Sorry I can't be there. Hope she's well. I didn't respond. I deleted it and moved on. Emma blew out her candles. Connor sang the loudest. Amber and Rachel helped serve cake. Jennifer glared but kept quiet. My mom, who'd been skeptical of the whole arrangement, admitted it was surprisingly functional. That night, after everyone left, after Emma was asleep, I sat on my back porch with a glass of wine and thought about the past 7 years. I'd been betrayed, humiliated, destroyed. I'd rebuilt myself from nothing. I'd raised an incredible daughter. I'd built a successful business. I'd navigated an impossible co-parenting situation with the woman who'd ruined my marriage. And somehow, impossibly, I'd come out okay. Better than okay. I was happy. Not the naive happiness I'd had before the affair. Not the fantasy happiness that depended on a man and a perfect marriage and a white picket fence. Real happiness. The kind that comes from surviving hard things, from making difficult choices, from putting your kids first even when it hurts, from finding peace in imperfect situations. My phone buzzed. A text from Amber. Thanks for today. Emma's party was beautiful. Connor hasn't stopped talking about it. You're an amazing mom. I started to type a response, then deleted it. Started again. Deleted again. Finally, I just wrote, thanks. Connor's a good kid. You're doing great. She responded immediately. We're all doing great. Who would have thought? I smiled. Not me. That's for sure. Life's weird. The weirdest. See you next week? See you next week. I set my phone down and looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, Brandon was living his life, probably making the same mistakes with someone new. Somewhere out there, the version of me from 7 years ago was standing in a pink dress at a baby shower, completely unaware that her life was about to explode. But that wasn't me anymore. I was someone different now. Someone stronger. Someone who'd learned that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and that moving forward doesn't mean pretending the past didn't happen. happen. I was Melissa, single mom, business owner, co-parent to 2 kids who shared DNA but not my DNA, friend to the woman who'd once been my nightmare, and I was okay with that. More than okay. I finished my wine, went inside, checked on Emma one more time, and went to bed. Tomorrow, there would be work emails and client meetings and school pickups and maybe a play date if Amber texted. Tomorrow, there would be the ordinary chaos of single parenthood and running a business and navigating complicated relationships. But tonight, I was at peace, and that was enough.